Morgan, if you just want to get started, kind of go over some of the housekeeping stuff and all
Sure.
that, then we can jump in. Hopefully, some people will pop in the meantime.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm trying to watch the chat also. But I think we're all good. So hi everyone. For those I have not met, I'm Morgan. Hello. This is just really, really exciting for us to be starting this new venture. Since Michael and I met, we always kind of had something working behind the scenes. Like we want to do this, we want to start that. And he came in with a whole host of ideas. I had my own ideas on this work and how it's helped our own lives and how we want to continue to give back to people in prison, people affected by trauma, people affected by addiction, grief, whatever it might be that where there is suffering. So Michael's going to go more into what we're doing in terms of programming and workshops and what we have on the radar. But I'm gonna just kind of give you kind of an idea of what to expect from New Start. So this is our first meeting. It's kind of a little bit of everything. More information about our mission, our vision, our philosophy, and what this means to us, this work. For me, just a little bit of a backstory. I learned about adverse childhood experiences and trauma 2020 ish, and it changed the entire trajectory of my life. I was in recovery from addiction, still am, gratefully sober, and my life is beautiful today. And I credit this work. I credit the hard work, the deep personal development. I'm still on that journey today. And I look forward to sharing more of that with you. But it's life changing. And I know there's a way out because I'm out and people don't need to suffer. So we want to do all we can to help others and show them that they're the answer. The community can support, but there's just so much, I don't know, beauty in life. It's just we're living it. We want to share it. We want to give it back. We want to love people. We want to love them until they love themselves, that they can get unstuck. And it just means a lot. It means a lot to me that we're doing this today. So thank you for all of your support and for being here and showing up for us. It means the world. So Anubis made an entrance. No barking. You're not supposed to bark. Shh. Okay, sorry. Um,
That's the result of the untrainer.
That's me. Also, I'm the hey Jack, what's up?
Hi.
Um, Michael is a
Jack
trainer, as many know.
outside.
I'm the untrainer. Right. So yeah, I ruined the dog apparently. But anyways, so this meeting is going to be a lot of information introducing you to New Start. We are recording it, like I said, for so we can share it. Not only just we're going to share it probably on clips on socials of Michael talking, but also we'll share it with the email list, anyone who had to jump out or couldn't make the meeting. What we are planning on doing, because my amazing husband has a pile of curriculum and workshops and work and philosophies. So we have so much information to share. We're going to be hosting meetings starting twice a week. Next week, we're going to start this. And the one meeting will be informational, presenting ideas, philosophies, concepts. The second meeting will be led by me, and it'll be more of a place for connection and reflection where we can do the work and grow together. I'm very much on the journey of what our programs do in terms of learning to love myself, reparenting my inner child, and getting myself unstuck out of my own pain cycles. So I want to bring that to the table and create a space where we are seen and valued and heard, and just love on everyone to until, and just help in whatever way. So we're going to have like educational informational sessions that those will be recorded, and then on a few days later, we'll have this space for everyone to join, connect, discuss some concepts, and just, community heals. Community heals. And in community, I feel like a whole person, and I hope you do too. So we hope you will join us. Lots of information to come. We're thinking Tuesday afternoons for the information session, and then Thursday evenings for the connection community sessions. I'm gonna put a link in the chat for anyone who's not on our newsletter list because all this information will go out on our newsletter. And I'm also working on building out a calendar on our website that will have all these meeting links for you so you can go onto the website and click on it there. But I just want to say thank you again for joining us. This is a really exciting journey ahead, and it just feels like amazing to be giving back and doing this full circle work. So thank you. I'm going to pass it over to Michael, and he'll tell you a lot more.
Thank you, Morgan. First off, thank you, everyone for being here, especially all of you returning citizens, my brothers that spent that time inside and know what it's like. Um, So what we're doing at New Start is kind of taking things that helped me in my journey and helped me to get out of prison. For those of you, everybody pretty much knows me, but for those watching, I was arrested at 15 years old, tried as an adult, and sentenced to 25 years of life in prison. I went to prison with the idea that I was going there to die. And because of the lifestyle I was living, I did everything I could to stay there and die in prison. And it took me a long time to figure out a path out of there, but the path didn't start with how do I get out of prison? It was how do I get out of the internal hell that I'm going through myself? That's what made the difference. Once I was able to do the work on myself, that helped me to get out. That helped them, everyone else, to recognize what was going on with me and for them to um, decide that I was worthy of a second chance at life. So what we're doing, we're starting from the premise that everybody is born the hero of their own story. And throughout life, we forget this, whether it's somebody tells us we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, we're not pretty enough. They say we can't be president, we can't do whatever we want, because every child thinks that they're capable of all of those things. And at some point, we start learning that we're not. But that's not the truth. The truth is we're all the heroes of our own story, and yet we forgot this somehow. So what we're doing is framing this in basically like the hero's journey. It's going to be framed, there's a lot of stuff coming from ancient and classical mythology and legend, and we are wrapping it up in Dante. So those of you who are familiar, the Divine Comedy, it's the Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso, which is, hell, purgatory, and paradise. So our workshops are going to take people on this journey of finding themselves. So you're going to have to become very familiar with this. I'll be teaching you. This is the Divine Comedy. But at the beginning of it, Dante wakes up in the middle years of his life and he's in a dark wood. He's lost and he's confused. And the path back to the straight path is blocked by three beasts. And these beasts represent, uncontrolled desire, violence, and fraud. Things that they're not able, that it's you're not able to follow the straight path when you're stuck blocked by these types of lifestyles and these different things happening to you. So in this, he's lost there and he needs a guide. So Virgil shows up. He's the ancient poet, the Roman poet, and he shows him, he basically lets him know the only way out is through. So for him to get out of this dark wood, this of being lost and confused, he has to go through the inferno. He has to go through hell. He has to go and see the suffering of humanity and the results of, in his analogy, it's sin, right? And our analogy of this, our telling of Dante, of the Divine Comedy, this is where you get the nine circles of hell, if you guys aren't familiar with it. And what we see in this is in these circles of hell is trauma. Everybody who is dealing with trauma is stuck here. So you have your true self and you have and your shade gets stuck here. And one of the things that we're teaching in this journey is when you make these decisions that to send you on a different path, you leave your inner child lost and confused in that dark wood. You go on, your shade gets stuck in one of these circles in the inferno, and we're giving people an opportunity and through the workshop to go back and rescue that inner child and walk them through the inferno to help them understand that, these decisions lead here. This is how you got here. Trauma does this, and the trauma that you have suffered and the trauma that you have inflicted is getting people locked in these circles of hell. So going through this, once you first have to face the beast and tame the beast, and those violence and fraud and incontinence is what he'd call it at the time, is you have to get through that so you can begin this journey. And once you walk through this journey, you get down to the lowest levels of the inferno is it's actually a frozen area. Everyone, when you hear the phrase "cold as hell," it actually comes from that because in Inferno, the ninth circle of hell is frozen, and the reason that it's frozen is that everybody who's there, this is the circle of betrayal, and everybody who's there was weeping over the betrayal that they have caused and done to others, whether it's kinsmen, country, or whatever that, and there's a different level for each one. And in here, the reason that Lucifer is here, he's stuck in the ice. And the reason he can't get out is because he keeps beating his wings, creating a wind and freezing the tears of those who are there. So if he would accept his fate and quit fighting against fate, the ice would melt, he could go away. But he can't let go of this. He has to fight his fate. And in this journey, what we realize after going through, because all the people going through our workshop are going to say, where is it that I see myself? I was traumatized here. You have the abuse, you have gluttony, you have all these different things, which come from the different things that have got people there. And so they'll see their shade in there. I'm here. Oh, and then it's an empathy exercise because so the people that you have harmed, where do you see them here? Because you've got them stuck here because you've traumatized them. So as they go through here, they're going to see that they're stuck here because of trauma. They've put other people here because of trauma. And then as they get to the bottom, as Dante gets to the bottom, he realizes that the only way to get out of the inferno is to climb down the legs of Lucifer. He's got the hairy beast legs and he has to climb down. So he has to go and face him. He has to face the most, the biggest fear in existence for his time and conquer this. So to get out, he goes over, he faces Lucifer, and he climbs down his legs. And as he's climbing down the legs, he passes the center of the earth and the world flips. So it's a turning point. He has to turn over, and now he's climbing up. So before we move on from there, what everybody's realizing at this point is that beast, the worst fear, the worst everything in their life was that worst version of themselves, the one who left that child abandoned in that dark wood. They made that decision that put them there. And now they have to face that. And once they face this, they climb, they begin their turning point. Once they reach that turning point, they're able to climb up. And in the Divine Comedy, it goes into purgatory, and that's a place where sin is cleansed. It's washed, it's burned away. So he goes through the different terraces of purgatory and witnesses people being cleansed of their sin. And as they continue on in this journey, they're letting go of their past. They're letting go of the traumas that had affected them. They're taking, they've taken responsibility for everything, and they're now learning how to not let their past affect them. Their future is whatever they want it to be. So as they climb up in Dante, he reaches paradise, and that's where he's reunited with his love. He gets the view of the heavens and the angels and everything there. But he had to witness everything that everyone else is suffering from so he could get back to the straight path. And in our analogy, once you're up there and you've burned away all of that past, you have become a new person. It's like the phoenix. You burn away, you're reborn, you reunite with your inner child. So now, after going through all this stuff, you found your way back to becoming the hero of your story. Now that child who could have been anything, but the decisions you made had left him behind, lost and confused. Now you're reunited and you get to move forward and do whatever you want with your life. You get to rebuild your entire identity and be who you want. So once you're at this point, how do we make sure that you are able to live a life that's going to keep you from slipping back? And part of our analogy is once you reach there, once you've been the transformed hero, now you get to become a Virgil. You get to be a guide. You get to go back to the beginning, back to that dark wood, and find someone else that's wandering there lost and confused and help them walk through that journey. But the thing is, every time you go back, you have to face those beasts again, whether it's addiction, whether it's criminality, whether it's whatever it is that's getting you there. You're facing it every single time. But every time you help someone else walk through that inferno, you face those beasts again. It gets a little easier. Doesn't always go away. Complacency can put you right back in those circles. But the hero has to do it. You have to face it. You have to go through this over and over again to not only help others, but to help yourself. And in our history, in all the myths and legends, the hero had to go into the underworld and face the fears and deal with all the fear and the pain and the suffering that they witnessed to go and find the gold and bring it back to humanity. Sometimes it brought their love back. Sometimes it saved their country. Sometimes it saved their city. Sometimes it was something that they needed to do so the gods, wouldn't take it out on humanity. But the hero always had to make that choice, despite their fear, despite everything, to take that role on and go into it and put themselves through it because the hero always sacrifices for the best interest of, the greater good. They may not want to. They may not want that title, that responsibility, but they do it because that's what they're born to do. And that is our premise. Everybody is born the hero of their story. And if we expand on that a little bit more, life is like a choose your own adventure book. I don't know if some of you guys are old enough to remember those. And you get to a point and it says, if you do this, turn to this page. If you do this, turn to this page. And if you make the wrong decision, there's nothing you can do except wait for the next time to make a choice, the next place where you get to make a choice. Because there's always a way to make a choice that puts you back on the right path. And that's what it's required of us is to give people those opportunities to make those choices. They have to have the tools. They have to have the ability to say, I've been doing this, but I want to do this. I want to become someone different. So what we've done is come up with a code. We call it the RAID code, RAIDD. It's responsibility, accountability, integrity, discipline, and dedication. And with those five things, you can do anything. You can conquer any obstacle in your way. You can get out of prison, as my brothers here can attest, and my sister Eartha, right? You can figure out how to live out here. You can make amends for all the things that you've done. You can make the world a better place, but you have to stick to that code. You have to be responsible, you have to be accountable, and then you have to live with integrity, discipline, dedication. Everyone doing this every day is going to make a world full of heroes, right? So this is our basics that we're going to teach everybody. And, we will be working with people in prison. We'll be working with juveniles as much as possible. We'll be working with others. So we're going to be doing trauma work, resiliency work, vocational and life skills, leadership, and community service. Included in this, there will be, parole preparation for the guys in prison. Um, One of the things, as I said, what we do at the top of the mountain, being reborn like the phoenix, is we can create our new identity and be whoever we want to be. And I'm fortunate I have Morgan because that's what she does. She does branding, she does design. We're going to teach people the skills to literally rebrand themselves and be whoever they want to be. Like we have the ability to just come out and be whoever we want. You know, Many of the guys when I work with inside, they don't know what it's going to be like. They're scared that people are going to know who they are, what they did, what their tattoos are, and they don't know that they can come be whoever they want. They just have to believe in themselves. They have to reclaim their narrative and own it. Once you're the hero of your story, nothing stops you. So one of the other things that we do after that, for part of our leadership and part of our community service, we're also going to be working with dogs. We will rescue dogs and train people how to train dogs, and then we'll give them to vets with PTSD. You know, those of you who know me know that the dog program saved my life. So that is something that I know people need, and I'm going to continue giving that back to people who need it most. And it saves three lives at once. We get the dog, we get whether it's a foster kid, transition age foster youth or somebody in prison, and then the veteran with PTSD. I can't tell you the changes that I've seen in people's lives when they get a service dog. So this is our overarching what we're gonna do. And because I'm fancy like that, I created a quick little PowerPoint that will. It's a lot of text, so I'll just kind of skim through it. But I want to show you guys this real quick if I can find it because it's not there. Hold on. Okay, here we go. All right. So this is our symbol. This is our logo for New Start. And there's so much meaning behind this because as you see, it's the journey of the wolf becoming a dog. And our Latin motto here means after a new start, nothing is impossible. And that's really what we were conveying with this, that something that people feared that was wild is now considered the best friend of humanity. So this represented my journey. It represents the journey of so many of those who have come home. It represents so many people who just need a new start in their life because nothing is impossible. So, we had pages and pages of what our mission and our vision and all that stuff was, but we had to keep it short because we're trying to have some documents here. And, so our mission is New Start Enterprises exist to provide transformational trauma awareness, resilience, vocational, and leadership programs that empower individuals affected by incarceration, addiction, violence, trauma, and grief to redefine their lives, become the best versions of themselves, and embrace a life of service and purpose. Our vision. We envision a world where those impacted by trauma, hardship, and incarceration are supported and empowered to create a new life for themselves. In this world, the work of transformation will be respected. Responsibility will replace blame. Accountability will replace denial. Integrity will replace shame. Discipline will replace indulgence. Dedication will replace complacency. Individuals will no longer be defined by their past, but recognized for who they have become and the standards they now uphold. Our philosophy, they're getting longer. I'm sorry. Um, at New Start Enterprises, we believe that no individual is permanently defined by their worst decisions, nor by the trauma or hardship they have experienced. We recognize that personal transformation is possible for those who are willing to take ownership of their lives, commit to change, and do the work. We reject both the culture of blame and the culture of rescue. We do not excuse harmful actions, nor do we view people as irredeemable. Instead, we believe that with the right tools, knowledge, and opportunities, individuals can rebuild their lives and forge new identities grounded in responsibility, accountability, integrity, discipline, and dedication. Our approach honors the difficulty of this journey. We believe that trauma and hardship are not excuses, but starting points. Transformation is neither given nor imposed. It is earned through adherence to the RAID code. At the organizational level, we are committed to creating environments where individuals are challenged to grow, held accountable to their commitments, and supported with the knowledge and practical tools necessary for sustainable change. Our programs are designed not to create dependency, but to foster resilience, leadership, and contribution to the greater community. This is not just about healing. It is about emerging from the depths free of the past and creating a new life as the person you choose to be. Nope, I went too far. No, no, it's going the wrong way now. All right. Our model of transformation. At New Start Enterprises, we believe that transformation is not given, inherited, or granted by others. It must be earned. We reject the idea that individuals are defined forever by their past decisions or by the trauma and hardship they have endured or inflicted upon others. While these may shape the course of their journey, they do not dictate the destination. Our model of transformation reflects the timeless wisdom found in ancient myths and real-world experience. Change requires descent, struggle, and the will to return. Like the heroes of old who journeyed into the depths to reclaim what was lost, our participants must confront the realities of their lives, accept the consequences of their choices, and commit to forging a new path. This process is not passive or imposed. Transformation requires work, the work of rebuilding character, reclaiming dignity, and constructing a new identity through honest self-examination, perseverance, and a willingness to uphold one's commitments. This work builds what the Romans called dignitas, the concept of self-worth, honor, and pride that comes from living up to a standard and fulfilling the obligations that come with it. It demands facing challenges directly, accepting the consequences of past choices, and proving change through deeds, not words. Through the guidance of the RAID code, responsibility, accountability, integrity, discipline, and dedication, individuals develop the tools and mindset needed not only to change their own lives, but to become assets to their families and communities. At New Start, transformation is not about erasing the past. It is about emerging from the depths free of its control and becoming the best version of oneself by embracing new values and living by a new code. Okay, the RAID code, if you haven't seen that enough in here so far. The RAID code, responsibility. I own my actions, my choices, and the consequences they bring. I take ownership of my life and refuse to blame others or circumstances for where I stand. Accountability. I answer for my behavior and honor my commitments. I accept feedback and correction without excuses and strive to align my actions with my values. Integrity. I act with honesty, consistency, and respect for myself and others, doing what is right even when it is difficult or unseen. Discipline. I master my impulses, emotions, and desires. I do what is necessary even when it is uncomfortable or inconvenient, and I remain committed to long-term goals over short-term comfort. Dedication. I commit to continuous improvement and service beyond myself. I persist in my efforts even when faced with setbacks, and I contribute to my community and the greater good. Quickly, we have a bunch of beliefs, but here's the 10 that we have come up with as our basics. We believe that transformation mirrors a timeless pattern found in ancient myths, descent into the depths, struggle, and the will to return. Oh no, now I can't see because this is in the way. Not as the person they once were, but as the person they choose to become. We believe that past experiences, including trauma, hardship, incarceration, and personal decisions, may influence the course of one's life, but they do not define who a person can become or dictate their future. We believe that transformation is not given, inherited, or imposed. It must be earned. We believe that personal growth requires honest self-examination, perseverance, and a willingness to uphold one's commitments. We believe that individuals can redefine their lives by taking ownership of their actions, their choices, and the standards they uphold. We believe that dignity, purpose, and contribution are built through responsibility, accountability, integrity, discipline, and dedication. We believe that meaningful change demands facing challenges directly, accepting the consequences of past choices, and demonstrating growth through actions and deeds. We believe that this journey leads not only to rebuilding character and reclaiming dignity, but to embracing a new life of service, purpose, and the sense of self-worth known as dignitas. We believe that the highest form of transformation is not only personal growth, but contributing to something greater than oneself. We believe that those who walk this path can become positive forces in their families, community, and the world. And the simple why we do, why our organization exists is the why, how, what model. Why we do what we do, because no one should be permanently defined by their worst choices or the hardship they've endured. We believe that with the right tools, knowledge, and opportunities, individuals can rebuild their lives, reclaim their dignity, and become positive forces in their families, communities, and the world. How? We provide transformational trauma awareness, resilience, vocational, and leadership programs that combine timeless wisdom with practical tools, personal development, and accountability structures. Our approach challenges individuals to take ownership of their lives, engage in the work of change, and develop the mindset and skills necessary for lasting transformation. What? Now this is blocking down here. We deliver structured curricula based on the RAID code, responsibility, accountability, integrity, discipline, and dedication, guiding individuals through the process of personal growth, skill building, and becoming contributors to their communities. So, a snapshot of who we are, what we do. New Start Enterprises provides transformational trauma awareness, resilience, vocational, and leadership programs that empower individuals affected by incarceration and addiction, violence, trauma, and grief to redefine their lives, become the best versions of themselves, and embrace a life of service and purpose. Our approach blends timeless wisdom with modern tools to support participants in rebuilding their lives, developing practical skills, and contributing to their families, communities, and the world. At the core of all our programs is the RAID code: responsibility, accountability, integrity, discipline, and dedication. We reject both the culture of blame and the culture of rescue. We do not excuse harmful actions, nor do we view people as irredeemable. We believe that transformation must be earned through honest self-examination, effort, and a willingness to uphold new standards. Yay, that's the end of it. All right. Sorry about that, guys. It was pretty long. But so that's kind of what we're doing. And this is a little bit different than our normal meeting would be because it was a lot of just us talking, me talking, but we will have the second meeting where we'll talk about things. We'll discuss this process. We'll tell you about the things we're doing, and then we'll also have another one where people can kind of go through it, process it, and turn to the community to for support if they need. I have a few things, but if Morgan, if you want to jump in, if you have anything before I get to this.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, that was a lot, but it
Sorry.
was really, we put a lot of work into all of this and really just wanted to introduce it to everybody here. And as we continue building up this community, we're going to have more of these meetings and like I said before, where we're thinking is to do 2 meetings a week. You're not expected, there's no expectations here to be at all of them, but we do hope you'll join along the journey. So as we get more into the work and talk about, we have more talking points around some of these beliefs and the journey and the path and the circles of hell and how we navigate through life. The first of those meetings will be educational, informational. Michael will host those meetings, and then I'm going to follow up and host more of an open meeting where we can talk about it, where we can process things, where we can celebrate our small wins and just, build each other up. One of the biggest learning pieces of I don't know how to word this right now is when I realized it was up to me, being dependent on other people, being dependent on alcohol, being dependent on drugs, being dependent on working all the time or pleasing people was my answer. It was always external from me, and I was always suffering underneath. No matter what masks I put on to try and pretend I had it okay, I was depressed and lonely and sad. And I realized one day when I was by myself that, oh my goodness, it's up to me. And all of the answers are in me. And I realized that, and I had, I have moments of sad because it's the detachment from all the external attachments that I was, looking for solutions in, but also the liberation of like, oh my gosh, I can do this. I can love me. I can learn new habits at the age of 43. I can live the life I want to live. And for those who know me, you know that over the last 3 years, my life has changed completely 180. And I am, on the rise of loving myself today. So that journey, we're all on it. And so the open community space that I want to create is one of connection and reflection and growth, and we can celebrate each other as we walk along this journey together. So look out for more information. Sign up for our newsletter if you haven't already, because all these links will be shared in there. We might even throw in a third meeting a week because that's how ambitious we are. So, I mean, we just defined this like a few days ago. So, what we're thinking is doing like a Tuesday noon meeting, and then that'll be kind of the more information-based meeting. And then a Thursday evening meeting. And we'll record the Tuesday one so people who can't participate can still get the information. So we're just, it might flex and ebb and flow as life does. We might throw in more meetings. If we're in prison one week, which is the goal to start bringing this inside, Then we might have to reschedule a few meetings, but we're just gonna, we're putting our perfectionist lens aside and just going for it. So I am really excited, and again, just so thankful that you are all here. I don't know you all yet, but I love you anyways, because this is where I want to be. I can't fake anything anymore. I can't, have a fake conversation and pretend everything's okay. I'm like, no, what's really going on? So this is what's really going on. So I'll put the newsletter link again in the chat because it kind of got lost in the chats. And then I'll turn it back to Michael because he has more to say.
I always have more to say. It's people who know me, I don't ever shut up. I'm sorry. Um, so, so as I said, this isn't just based in prison. This is a philosophy and ideology for everybody that's going to help them with their lives. But we are focusing on prison at the beginning. We've already have 5 prisons have invited us in to start providing workshops and different types of programming. I was recently, although so those 5 are Tehachapi, CTF, Ironwood, Stockton, and Pleasant Valley. The CRMs have all reached out saying they want us there. Um, I was recently in Salinas Valley on Sea Yard, the level 4 GP 180. I went in there to speak to one of the teachers invited me in to come talk to her class because it was they are still, those of you who know level 4 180 yards, GP yards, there's still a lot of politics, a lot of violence, a lot of things going on. So I was on a yard, they had the Bulldogs, they had the Southerners, the Northerners, they had everybody. So, but I just went there and I got to go tell them what we're doing and why we want to do it. And it's important to me because I was on those yards for a long time and programming is almost non-existent. And that's one of the things they kept telling us was, they kept saying, "Hey, man, thank you because we don't have any programming. Like nobody wants to be here." And I said, "Well, you don't have any program because you won't program." So, like, like that's what the problem is. If you want programming, you have to start programming. But I'll come here, I'll bring it. I mean, we went up there, we drove up we were actually supposed to go into Pleasant Valley the next day because we were going to go represent at a dog program graduation there and speak about our program. And then they had this statewide lockdown on level 3s and level 4s, so we didn't make it there. But it was it was good to go there and just see these guys because they think that nobody cares. They think they're stuck here. This is the only life they know. This is how it's going to be. And I remember being that guy. And I told them, I understand. You guys need it more than anybody. You know, the yards that are programming need less program than the yards that aren't programming because they need the ability to change. They just have to accept that they're responsible for their own lives and being that hero of their story and taking that programming. So we were able to do that. It was great. We also have some talks going on with Lancaster, SADF, Valley State, a few others. They're all asking us to come in. In the meantime, let's see. So I filed our articles of incorporation. I filed our 501c3 status, which has been granted. So we are an official nonprofit organization, filed for a trademark. So we're getting all that stuff going. Morgan spoke of a stack of curriculum, and this is like half of it. Uh, so I've developed, it's a journey. So we have one that can be a year long. We got one that can be 5 years long, but it's going to be facing those beasts. It's going to be recognizing that you're the hero of your story. We have different heroic archetypes and the shades and their shadows and all the things to help people understand. We're not just trying to force you to do this. We want you to learn and we want it to be something that's going to help you in the long run. And it's a journey where you're going to have to face what you've done. You're going to have to face what's been done to you. You're going to have to accept what the world is and then realize that you can make it better. So that's kind of what we're up to. Thank you guys for letting me talk so much. We're here. If anyone has any questions or anything, or you just want to hear me talk for another hour, I can do that too.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay. So I am just wondering, so the purpose of these meetings is kind of to walk through this curriculum with you guys. And is it also to prepare us to be volunteers with you, or like what is the totality of the purpose of the meetings?
Yes, yes, and yes. And yes, right? Yeah, so we want people to get this because, like I said, this isn't just for those guys inside. This is a lifestyle for everybody. It's knowledge and information that will help everybody. We want our volunteers to work with the guys inside. We wanted them to go through this stuff. We are going to start doing these workshops, and we'll take in volunteers with us. So all of those things are going to happen, and because we can't do everything, but we're trying to do everything. We will have partnerships with people who provide, modalities for regulating the nervous system or things that we don't do ourselves. You know, one of the things that I think that the reentry, the restorative justice community, whatever it is that you're part of, is that we need to have more interaction and more. We should work with each other more, right? If there's something that I don't provide, then somebody else can. And it's not about whether I'm successful or not. It's about getting that information to the guys inside, you know. And so if we can do that, we're going to. We have people who are going to do. Oh, I see you, Jason. Hey, thank you for being here, man. Appreciate it. Um, so if people provide that skill, whether it's tapping or breath work or any of that stuff, like we want to get it involved. All right, Ted, we'll see you later. So we want everyone to get involved in it, and we want to make this code and this lifestyle just universal. Everybody needs to just understand they're the hero of their story. By helping themselves, they help others. By helping others, they help themselves. And it's going to take a lot of work because there's a lot of, as I said, we're starting with that lost child in the dark wood. So there's going to be a lot of what did your inner child need? What did your child need? So it's a lot of parts work. It's a lot of all this other stuff, but it's really coming down to can you be that person that you were destined to be? How are you the hero of the story? Doesn't matter what you've done, doesn't matter what your past is, you can get past it and become a hero. You don't need our permission to be the hero. Especially these guys who've been in prison, they're already walking through hell. They're living in it every single day. But they're going to walk back out of there and they're going to have some knowledge that they can share with us that's going to make our lives better. So yes, and the short answer is yes. We are going to have our volunteers get more involved in what we're doing. We want workshops. We want people coming in. We want them providing. Like I have something to say. I have something to teach, but so do others. What's going on, Jack? Oh, he's got to go. Oh, don't pretend like you work now, Jack. You're still on mute, but
I was just saying goodbye, brother. I love this, man. I'll talk to you later on.
all right,
I signed up for all the stuff. Talk to
cool.
you later.
Thank you, brother.
Very good. Mhm.
Okay. Anyone else? Questions, comments, burning desires? Want to get up and do a jig?
All of that, yes. Thank you.
Yeah, Rana?
This is powerful.
Thank you.
You just dropped the bomb. You made history. This is truly powerful. I look forward to this. I want to be a part of this because I see this growing, and this is amazing stuff. I just want to say congratulations.
Thank you, Rana. We know we'll see more of you in the future.
Hopefully.
Yes? Uh,
Hi, me?
Hi. Yeah. So I'm sorry.
Hi, Cecile. This is amazing. I think I'm part of another program that goes inside, and I've seen firsthand the power and beauty and support that we can bring to the residents of these places. And I'm just so excited to support, again, with yoga, meditation, sound, Reiki, whatever the program curriculum wants to include from a spiritual standpoint, volunteering standpoint. I'm 100% in. So yeah, if you can share, Michael, I think I got your info via text, but if I can get on the meetings with my email, just so I know when the links are out and I can join from wherever I am, that would be so great and so helpful. But congratulations, this is incredible. I'm so happy for you guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And she performed the first sound bath that I was a part of, and it was great. It was amazing. So definitely get in contact with her. You're here in LA, right?
Yeah, I'm here in LA and I've got a wagon and I get all of these materials and items into facilities. Nobody ever checks what I bring in or bring out, go figure. So yeah, happy to get into wherever you guys are.
Yeah, and definitely one of the things we want to do is make sure this community is supporting each other. That, if you have something that you can bring into somebody else's program, let's start complimenting each other instead of fighting with each other. Right? Okay. Anybody else? I see Jesse there. I know he's got things to say.
Hey, how you doing, guys? Bro, I think I want to echo what Rana said. I think this is a home run. I think the key that is gonna make this a success is what you mentioned about different resources connecting, right? Something that you may not be able to provide, somebody else can. And for all of you guys that have done time, you know how it is in there. A lot of people they become resource guarded. And we do this in dog training, right? Resource guarding, right? Somebody has a connection instead of saying, hey, you know what? Maybe Michael can use that. No, 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 don't tell Michael. So I think that's very important, right? Is sharing the resources because something that is lacking in there is that people sharing resources. People want to get a book and they don't want to share it to other people. Like I left over 200 books when I paroled to just a bunch of friends. But the book I wanted to talk about is what your curriculum's about. It's healing the child within. I don't know if you guys ever read that book, but that book is one of my favorite. My wife and I, because my wife does this is what she does, right? And we have hundreds of books on trauma. But if there's one book that I think will go hand in hand with this, is healing the child within, because that's where it all started, right? Our inner child was broken. And one of the things that I see since I've been participating with you guys since I came home from prison myself is we're all trying to be that one person we so much needed and didn't have for others. And I think that is beautiful. Because that's my mission. That's my mission in life. That's my purpose in life, right? Is to be that one person for somebody that I so much needed didn't have. And so I think, bro, this is home run. And thank you for inviting me. And I'm always available. So if you guys need anything, right, please do not hesitate. I'm here for you guys. I love you guys. I love the mission. I love the vision. So I just want to let you know that this is a home run and I'm here, whatever you guys need, bro.
Thank you, brother. We appreciate it. Rana, you have something else?
Two things. I do meditation, so that's always at your convenience, disposal, whatever. And Eartha just texted and said to tell you she loves you. Her phone just overheated, and so she had to get off. So.
Yes. Yeah. Anybody else? It's like, Carmen, are you trying to come off mute?
Yeah, I think
There,
you
finally, I think I got it. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, well, thank you so much for inviting me. Yes, I really enjoy being part of this. I love being able to bring in resources to the institution that I work at. And in all honesty, I mean, my population, the one strictly in my program, it's always on over 600 incarcerated individuals. And unfortunately, the way that I give them resources when they're going to parole and so on, and our biggest parole area is LA and San Bernardino County, Orange County, is through other individuals that are also residents, and that's horrible. having, and it's difficult um, having to do your own research and look out, and in order to get them prepared to go to other have resources out there in the community, because they don't have much when they get released. So thank you very much, Michael, and thank you also for allowing me to be part of this group.
Of course, thank you.
And
And
great
I'm
job.
going to
Your
connect you
presentation
with
was amazing.
thank you. I'm going to connect you with Mass Liberation too because they got the stuff.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you.
Big Joe.
All right. So I work for Mass Liberation, and if anybody knows Joe and Michelle, man, we got lots of resources. So if you need anything, you give me a call. My number is 213. You guys want to write it down? 213-577-4208. I do the housing over here. Like when they come out, I can house anybody. Anybody. I don't care what kind of case they have. You know, I not to blow my head up, but I just have the connection. So housing, and I have connections with jobs. So feel free to give me a call. And yeah, Mass Liberation, we cater to the lifers. Michael came through there, and that's that's what we do, man. So thanks a lot. You're doing a hell of a job, bro. This is a good thing. I like it.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it, brother.
You know how to talk too many words, so
Yeah,
that's really, really good. Eh? Good
that's
job.
good. We love it. All right, Judy, you're out down as Dave right now, but
Yeah, I'm Dave today. I'm Dave today. No, I wanted to say hi to Joe. I was just at Mass Liberation for the first time a couple of weeks ago with Defy Ventures, and what a great place that is. And as far as your presentation, Michael, I think it's like spot on, and really inspiring. And I love what you're doing. And Dave and I are behind you 100%. You can count on us. We're here for you. And I also had this thought, with the Prisons to Partnerships group, we have a community meeting second Monday of the month with a featured speaker. So if you want to be that speaker in July to, connect with people even across the country, 5 p.m. second Monday in July. Let me know if you're interested in doing that.
okay.
I'd love to share your message broadly.
Absolutely. Appreciate that, Judy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dennis?
So I would have to say I have been inspired by so many things that were said here today, but primarily your vision, your ability to really persevere in something that, as you mentioned at the very beginning, was helpful to you, and how much that means to hear one story, authentic story on how you were transformed, and then allow the rest of us then to see where we fit in. Um, the other thing that has really blown me away is Big Joe. So Mass Liberation. I struggle with my friends that have been paroled, finding them places to live and jobs, and it just seems like California has so much together. And then you invite others to participate. It's not like you have all the answers. You want to be a cooperative. So that too. And the last thing I would say is I want to hear more about the service dog aspect that you have developed. I think that that's a special um, gift, and I'd love to hear more about it. So thanks again for inviting me.
Thank you, Dennis. And as we develop, we'll share more. We are we gotta, especially with dogs and stuff, we have to figure out, do we start a rescue? Do we partner with a rescue? Who's gonna pay for the insurance? How, all of that stuff right there. So, we're gonna find the funding and to figure out what we're doing, and it's all coming together. That's the one thing is I've always been convinced that things happen exactly how they need to happen. So I run with it and I let it go.